Night Creatures is another Hammer film, this time about a small village in the late 1700s that's secretly involved in bootlegging and smuggling. The sneaky efforts are being led by the town's preacher, played by Peter Cushing, alright. The military shows up on a hot tip that this community is up to no good, thinking they're hiding gin. Turns out they're not, but then they are. Fun! We learn what the night creatures of the title are in the first 5 minutes as we witness a group of skeletons on ghost horses menace a man to death. Well, forget all that night creatures business because it barely comes up again. And when it does, it's not supernatural in the least. Nope, this is just a tale of smuggling with a very young Oliver Reed hanging out, romancing the ladies. There's a plot twist that's made obvious in the first 30 minutes, and while it's enjoyable watching Cushing and Reed do their thing, this movie is instantly forgettable once it's over, and the horror aspect is a huge lie. Just go ahead and skip it. The Cave has all the components of something I'd like, but I was bored to tears watching it. It's the tale of a cave diving crew hired to explore a mysterious new discovery, which of course goes wrong almost immediately. It's slick, but almost too slick, and features a lot of quick cutting when the monsters start getting involved, which isn't fun. But the underwater photography is impressive at least. Best part is the cast, which includes Lena Headey, Cole Hauser, Morris Chestnut, and Daniel Day Kim. Unfortunately, they're not enough to make this one work. Return of the Living Dead 5, or Return of the Living Dead Rave to the Grave, was filmed back-to-back with the previous installment, which means there was no hope for it. I have no idea if any of these characters are the same, except for Peter Coyote, who is back grimacing up a storm, except when he doesn't want to for some reason. He drove off with some canisters of trioxin at the end of the last film, tries to sell them at the start of this one, and things go wrong. It's garbage, and that's partially a shame because Rave to the Grave is a pretty good subtitle.
You gotta say fuck it and misbehave. So, take a smile on your face from the rave to the grave! Woo!
Asinitis is back. And I'm not going to mock the producer's name this go around. This time he's actually writing and directing the film too, which has several titles, but for the purpose of this review, we're going with Madhouse. This Italian production was shot in Savannah, Georgia, and was filmed in English, the latter of which is kind of a bummer since Italian to English dubs sometimes yield great results for me. It's the tale of a lady being tormented by the thought of her twin sister, who recently escaped from an insane asylum. But what it ultimately is a bunch of scenes where a dog puppet murders people before things get both twisty and pretty grotesque. It's not great, in fact it's not great at all, but it has its fans, so I hear, and that's why Arrow's Blu-ray release is worth mentioning. Some of its features include an interview with co-star Edith Ivey, who is just a charming old lady, an interview with a cinematographer who doesn't care much for the film or the genre, but he does what he's told and tries to make it look as good as possible. He's a lovely Italian man. And then an interview with Asinitis himself, who speaks English and seems thrilled about this film making it to Blu-ray. Most memorable thing about Madhouse, though, is that we finally have a slow, sad version of Rockabye Baby to repurpose and use in some upcoming trailer like the dark, gritty Look Who's Talking reboot or something.
Rockabye baby on the treetops when the wind blows the crazy